Nothing will ever feel as good as knowing that you are following your divine purpose, your divine path, and just showing up for you. No one can ever take away what you build for yourself. Okay, so I know that your 20s, especially your early 20s, can be a really overwhelming time. I feel like nowadays, especially, there is so much pressure to accomplish so many things in your 20s. And honestly, now with TikTok, with Instagram, it can feel really easy to be falling behind when we're so easily comparing ourselves to what everyone else is doing. But I do find that these 7 lessons that I learned throughout my 20s really, really help with finding peace within yourself, prioritizing yourself, and really aligning with how you want the rest of your life to go, because the 20s is not the beginning and it's not the end. Life will go on. So your 20s is a great time to set yourself up to start building some really great habits and systems in your life, get a head start on what you want to accomplish, explore, and really find yourself, and to start prioritizing yourself and your peace. So if that sounds like something you want for yourself, keep watching. Hey everyone, welcome back to Just Like Magic with Julia. On today's episode of Just Like Magic, we are talking about 7 things that you have to master in your 20s if you want to be successful, if you want to live your dream life. But before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you become a gem and join the Just Like Magic family. That way you never miss a video, and that way you will be living your dream life just like magic. Okay, so let's get into it. One thing that I will say everyone should be prioritizing in their 20s is building a strong foundation. We don't need everything accomplished, we don't need everything done, but we do want to focus on really building that foundation. So I'm currently 27 years old, and one thing I can say is that when I think back to my early 20s, I think that there was a lot of pressure to really live up to the hype of what a 20-something-year-old was supposed to be doing. I remember growing up and seeing like reality shows like The Hills and Jersey Shore, etc., where like the 20s were an age of having fun, of partying. And the truth is that that really wasn't at all representative of what my early 20s were like. I was a college student, I was struggling with some family stuff. There was a lot going on that needed my attention that personally I kind of felt like I wanted to suppress or avoid because I was supposed to be having fun. But looking back, one thing that I can say is you will never regret showing up for yourself and providing stability and order for yourself. And I want to really touch on what order does. I find that anxiety and depression are 2 big things that really come up in your early 20s for whatever reason. I think when you're going from being a teenager to being, an emerging adult, there is a lot of pressure, there is a lot of unknown. And so anxiety and depression does really play a big part. But at the same time, I find that order is really the antidote to anxiety. So when you get your life in order, right, you are really providing a new sense of peace for yourself. And the reason why that matters is because a lot of the times when we feel anxiety, when we feel depression, it's because there's a lack of peace within ourselves. There's something that's missing. And so order is really the antidote to that. Because truthfully, your 20s should be about finding and creating what brings you the most peace. The goal is really to find peace within yourself. So starting off strong, lesson number 1 that I find to be very important in your 20s is forcing an unnatural narrative, aesthetic, way of thinking or living onto your life will not make you happier. So again, I'm aesthetic queen. I love, love, love when things look really nice. Because your 20s is such a time of really trying to find and explore for your own identity, we see things that we like within others and we try to really copy and paste that onto ourselves sometimes because we feel as though we resonate with some aspect of it that we should take it on. Let's be real. Sometimes we treat our lives like it's a Pinterest board. And instead of just starting from scratch and really building and finding what works for us, we want to take bits and pieces of everyone else and formulate them into us. And I find that that sometimes is taking the easy way out. There's a difference between really appreciating something within someone else or how it looks for them and wanting to find your own groove within that. And then there's a difference between kind of copying and pasting it and trying to kind of make it your own image. Honestly, sometimes it's easier to do this because it roots in comparison. And if it works for someone else, we feel like it's going to work for us. But it's not always the best way, because when we do that, we're not prioritizing our authentic selves. Your 20s is supposed to be an era of really exploring and finding out what feels natural to you. And the way that we do that is not by kind of looking at someone's get ready with me on TikTok or what I eat in the day and trying to mirror it to be like that other person in hopes to have what they have because their life may appear to be so joyous. It really is about getting real with yourself and trying to identify your own needs, your own desires, because that's how you align with things that are for you. And it's so interesting because people will like you more when you are being authentically yourself. I know that if you're watching this video, you can probably spot someone who's being inauthentic a mile away. Like, you know how it looks. And even if someone is camouflaging, it's going to come out one way or another because it's not going to authentically be them. You don't want to be that person. You want to be someone who takes the time to really figure out who you are, what's true to you. And you do that by not following the crowd all the time. Oh my God, it was so funny because right before I made this video, I was actually going through my music library on my iPhone. And so many of the songs that I had on my phone were just like songs that were super popular. Like, they weren't even songs that I authentically liked. It was just like songs that went viral. And I was deleting them, like, why are these even here? But the truth is, sometimes we get so caught up with what is so popular and with what everyone else likes that we feel as though we have to like it to be a part of the crowd or to gain approval. When you're being naturally who you are, when you're standing firm in what you think, what you feel, what you love, what you don't, that's really how you develop your own confidence. That's really how you align with people, with places, with opportunities that are for you. Which brings me to lesson number 2. What feels good in your spirit and soul is way more meaningful than how your life looks. Like I said, 20s can be super overwhelming. You can feel a lot of pressure in your 20s to, succeed in certain goals that you set for yourself. And that's amazing. If you have goals for yourself, I'm so proud of you. You should have that, right? But sometimes we set goals because we feel as though the goals will define us. We feel as though if we achieve certain things, our worth will go up. And that's not true. You are worthy despite what you have achieved. All of your accomplishments, all of your successes are just little additions and cherries on top, but they don't define your worth. We want to make sure that your goals, just like everything I said before about having desires and needs and a way of thinking that's authentic to you, we want to make sure that your goals are authentic to you. The reason why someone should have a goal is not because of what it will look like to everyone else or say about them. It's because it should be indicative of something that's fulfilling to you. You achieving something that really is fulfilling and purposeful to you. The best way to know if you're setting a goal for others versus yourself is to really think about what it will feel like or look like when you achieve it. Are you dreaming of the applause and approval that you get when you reach the goal, or are you really just thinking about reaching the goal because it really means something to your core? If no one was watching, if no one was going to applaud or even know about it, would you still want to do it? You have to do things for you. If you are going to do things and put so much time and effort into goals that are for everyone else, even if it's for people that you love, like your parents or, family, you are wasting your time. If it doesn't feel good to you, if you are not going to feel fulfilled by it, do not invest your time in it. It's a waste of time because sooner or later, the jig will be up, you will not be happy, and you'll realize that life is so short and that time is super precious. And working towards things or trying to attain things to make others happy or to receive validation is not it. And guess what? A lot of the times, that validation is fleeting anyway. Which brings me to the second half of this lesson, which really is to formulate goals that feel good to you, right? If you're having a hard time doing that, if you're having a hard time thinking about what does feel good to you, you have to kind of get to know yourself a little bit more. You have to kind of try to connect with your purpose a little bit more. And I think the best way to do that is to really understand what fulfills you. If you're having a hard time setting a goal or even thinking about creating goals for yourself, you have to kind of take a step back and learn yourself a little bit more. Things have to feel purposeful within you when you're trying to achieve something. It can't just be you trying to receive something through the achievement. Because guess what? Your life could be filled with achievements. It can be filled with material items, cars, clothes, shoes, etc. And you may not feel good in your soul, your spirit. And if you don't feel fulfilled, what's really the point? Lesson number 3 is super, super important. And lesson number 3 really focuses on that nothing is actually in your way. Speaking of goals, right? Sometimes in our 20s, we feel like there are so many things that we want to do, or we have this pressure to figure out all of the things that we want to do. And sometimes that pressure can really create fear and doubt. Sometimes we don't realize the potential that we have in the moment. We don't realize that we're capable. And when we want to do something or when we want something, we think about all of the things that are naturally in our way. We think about our limitations, we think about our obstacles, and we don't realize that all of those things can actually be worked around. But for some reason, they just kind of pile on one by one on top of each other, and it becomes this huge roadblock that feels like it's in the way between you and the goal that you want to achieve, the success that you want to have, the version of yourself that you want to become. And it feels like nothing can break it down. That building block is actually just you in the way of you. I want you to know that there is no external locus of control. There is nothing in your way. Everything that you're deeming that's in your way, that's an obstacle, can be worked on. Don't be lazy, okay? Not on this channel. It may take time, it may take effort, but guess what? So does everything else. You not getting that version of yourself, that goal, that accomplishment takes time and effort. That's hard in itself too, not becoming the version of yourself that you want to be. So understand that just because you feel like there is hardship in the way, that doesn't mean that that's actually indicative of your capability. You are in charge of who you want to be. You are in charge of the decisions that you make to become that person. And yes, sometimes it's very easy to look at the list of obstacles in front of you and just walk away and be discouraged. That's really easy to do. But life is not easy all the time. You don't want to be that version of yourself that just walks away when things get hard. You want to show up for yourself. Like I said at the beginning of this video, your stability, your goals, your foundations, the things that are in you are the things that you want to pour into because no one can ever take them away. If you don't spend the time trying to learn how to kind of break down those obstacles one by one, little by little, and learn and overcome them, you're basically telling yourself that the version of yourself that you want to be isn't worth your time, isn't worth your effort, isn't worth your patience, and that's not true. If that's not worth your time, effort, and patience, then what is? And y'all better not say it's a man or a girl or a partner. Don't make me come for you. Because as much as we value the people in our lives, we have to value ourselves too. Because guess what? Everyone in life has free will. And if someone wants to walk away from you, or if you want to walk away from someone, each of you have to have your own life, your own goals, your own stability. Lesson number 4, being okay with being alone and being on your own path. Like I just said, this era of self-exploration and trying to find and formulate your own identity takes time, it takes patience, it takes effort. And I know that being in a relationship is a beautiful thing. I'm not saying to break up with your boo, but you don't want to just jump into investing into another person before you invest in yourself. At bare minimum, you have to invest in yourself while you're in a relationship. You can't just put all of your goals, all of your aspirations, all of your desires on hold for another person. Because like I said, at any given moment, someone can choose to walk out of your life. I know it's scary. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's the truth. It happens every second of the day. And you have to be good without that person. You have to be your own motivation. And besides motivation, because guess what? Motivation is fleeting. You're not always going to feel motivated to show up for yourself. You have to be disciplined. Disciplined in your mind and disciplined in your actions. Don't get me started on emotional discipline. That's for another video. I need you all to stop worrying about what other people are doing. Like I said, I went through this. In my early 20s, I felt like I was in a race for some reason. I was in a competition with literally everyone around me. And it felt like what was slowing me down was really just looking at everyone else's path instead of focusing on my own. When we focus on other people, especially when we're comparing, which is something that inevitably happens from time to time, it creates a false sense of pressure. It creates a false sense of standard. We feel as though there's a standard that we have to live up to, maybe, or a pressure that if I don't do this or if I don't get this, then I'm falling behind. And those things aren't actually true. They're not real. You have the control, the capacity, and the capability to determine what standards you want to set for yourself and achieve those. You get to do that for yourself, and everyone does that for themselves. There's no rule book or handbook that says if you do X, Y, and Z, you're successful. And social media is really a scam because we think that social media kind of writes those unwritten rules of, okay, well, you have to have this or drive this car or wear these shoes to be successful. But really, it's like you don't even know that person half the time. You don't know what their life looks like when they log off of TikTok or Instagram. And honestly, being aesthetic is really just a skill. Like taking pictures and making it look good is a skill. You have no idea what is actually going on. So you don't even know what standard of success you're actually even trying to compete with. You guys, y'all need to put down that phone from time to time, get off of the computer, and really just find what resonates. Read books, okay? If you don't like to read, that's fine. Go on your Kindle, get an audiobook, but really take the time to figure out what works for you, because when you're looking at this girl and that girl and this girl and they have things that you don't, it's really easy to feel like you're falling behind, but you're falling behind because you're not showing up for yourself. You're spending most of your time focusing on them and you're taking it away from you. Right now, this is a sign you need to focus on you. Stop looking to your right, stop looking to your left, stop looking behind you. All that matters is right now. Show up for you. And the truth is, the reason why we have to be okay with being alone, with showing up for ourselves, with being on our own path is because inevitably, at some point in our life, I know that this will scare some people, but we will be alone. We are all born alone. And if you're ever by yourself, you don't want to feel helpless. You don't want to feel like you can't show up for yourself. Who wants to feel like they can't be alone and happy? Some of my happiest times, some of my most relaxing times come from being alone. And I have an amazing set of friends and family and loved ones. They're amazing people in my life. But if I need to be alone, I can do that. And that feels amazing. If there's one thing I can say that you should be prioritizing, well, two things actually. It needs to be yourself and God. One thing that I've learned throughout my 20s personally is that no one can take away the things that you are able to build within yourself. Stability, true peace, foundation. Because when you invest and build and put time into yourself, when you really begin to pay more attention to building structure and foundation into your own life, you feel more aligned, you feel more fulfilled, and that's really what matters. Next lesson. It's okay to take life seriously. And I know that this is hard to hear because I feel like we live in an era where no one wants to take things seriously. And let's be real. We all have things that we care about. We all have things that we want to succeed in, even if it's stability, right? We all want to have a standard of success that we create for ourselves that we reach. And in order to do that, you have to take things seriously. I feel like people who don't like to take things seriously are people who don't want to be seen as inferior or feel embarrassed. And look, I get it, because I think I said this in another video. I hate feeling embarrassed. Like that's like my least favorite emotion in the world. But don't be that person who doesn't try because you're scared. Because when you're that person and you don't try, what you're really doing, what you end up doing a lot of the times is projecting those feelings onto other people. I'm sure that some of you could even relate to that. Like when you're kind of trying to achieve a goal, whether you're trying to save money and you can't, go out to dinner with your girls or go to the clubs, or when you're trying to post content, right? Let's say you want to develop a YouTube channel or a TikTok account, or you're trying to prioritize school or work or do some inner healing, inner work. If you're eating better, oh, that's a good one. If you're trying to lose weight or get your body right, right? Sometimes people who are scared of doing that themselves because they're scared of failing will project onto you. So maybe they'll make a comment when they see you, posting on social media. Oh, I don't know how you could do that. I'd be so scared of, negative comments. Or, oh, you're eating healthy. Well, I don't need to do that. That's a waste of time. Who cares? Those are even the people who are like, oh, you're eating healthy, you want to go out and grab cookies. Like, you don't want to be a person who projects onto others, and you don't want to be around people who project onto you, because really what that all is fear of you doing better than them doing better than you, fear of being seen as inferior or embarrassed, fear of dealing with painful emotions that come from those things. And fear is contagious. You don't want to be around others who feed off that energy. But what I will say is that fear is just a feeling. Just like anything else, fear is a feeling. And just like any other feeling, it's temporary if you let it be temporary, if you can control it, if you can manage it. I have lots of videos on how to handle fear, but the moral of the story with fear is that, like I said, it's a feeling, it goes away. And the truth is, fear comes when you're trying something new, when you're uncertain about how it's gonna go. But the truth is, if you don't try, you'll never know. And a lot of people like to numb the fear with just, projecting or suppressing it. But when you numb the pain, you also are possibly numbing the blessing that can come on the other side of facing the fear. And when you're trying to numb that fear, really what you're doing is trying to escape your path. And when you're escaping your path, you're escaping your lessons and the teachings that can build you. Don't be that person. And don't surround yourself with those people. Because guess what? There's no such thing as escaping. You can put it off and prolong it. And I promise you, one day you will come face to face with the fact that you regret never doing it. You will regret not doing what was authentic to you. You get one life. Remember that. Like, this is it. You will ultimately regret caring too much about what other people think about you and not trying. So, either way, you, them, whoever will not escape fear. It will fester up and then it will turn into regret. Let me take a moment. That was a lot. Okay, lesson number 6. It's okay to not be okay all of the time. Just like I said, fear is a temporary emotion. We all go through pain. Life is inevitably painful sometimes. Don't be someone who suppresses pain. Not every season will be a winning season. And I find that in your 20s, because you're in that stage of trying to explore and find your identity, it's really easy to like to listen to other people, to fall victim to being influenced. And, I know that this is going to turn a little bit serious, but it really is true. When we suppress pain, when we try to numb pain, it can form habits that are not good for you. It can form addictions. It can form, being really reliant on substances outside of you. And look, it's okay. It's cool, I guess, to drink and smoke sometimes. I personally don't even do that anymore. But like, you don't want to be a person who's reliant on a substance to make them feel okay. We have to believe in something bigger than ourselves. You have to understand that the things that are out of your control are there to build you. And inevitably, we're not always going to be in a winning season. I know that sometimes we look at other people and think, oh my God, things are going so great for them. What about me? Am I forgotten about? Like, why am I not getting it? There has to be a reason. But that is not true. You have a purpose, but part of that purpose and part of the path that you're walking on is going to be hard. It just is, whether it's, fear, whether it's doubt, whether it's actual obstacles that you feel are in your way, whether it's the fact that you are being called to be strong or resilient. Yes, like those are very, very hard things to learn and to show up for, but do not quit. don't quit on yourself, because guess what? Like, no matter what, whether you're on that path or not, there's still going to be hard things. We're never going to be able to run away from the inevitable painful parts of life. Practice and learn how to show up for yourself emotionally, one step at a time when things get hard. Sometimes the best investment that you can make is learning how to emotionally show up for yourself. How you show up when you're being challenged, how you show up when you're in pain, how you show up when you're frustrated or angry will ultimately determine who you are and the level of resilience that you have. The closer that you get to your purpose, the closer that you get to your path, the more things may start to feel a little hard. And just because it's hard does not mean that you're not capable, but when we learn to master our emotions, right? When we learn to be mentally resilient, which by the way, just did a video on, just saying if you want to check it out, we learn how to show up for ourselves. And things don't get easier. We get smarter, we get wiser, we get stronger, and we learn how to overcome those challenges. You invest your time in that. That is one of the smartest things that you can do because you're preparing. I don't care how you invest your time in it. I don't care if you watch videos, I don't care if you read books, go to therapy, but invest time in getting to know your patterns, getting to know yourself, and really learning how to emotionally cope and show up for you. The seventh, final, last lesson that I want you all to know, and this is a big one, is that just because you are here on earth, you are deserving. What you believe about yourself will determine how your life turns out. Energy grows where energy flows. And if you put your energy in to believing that you have a divine plan, you're blessed, you're favored, anything in your way, you will figure out. When you begin to think about your life and all of the good things that have happened to you, I know that, a lot of our attention goes to thinking about all of the pain that's kind of happens in our lives. Everyone has pain. Everyone has had arguably really bad things happen to them, whether we know it or not. But when we look at the glass half full and when we learn to think about life in a blessed manner, we see the blessings in our life and we feel it, and we operate at a different level of life. That's true and possible for anyone, but you have to make that choice. There's someone in my life who I speak to frequently who, I was having a conversation with them the other day, and they were telling me that they were scared to believe that they were made for something because they felt as though that would make them conceited or arrogant or, selfish in a way. And that's not at all true. Personally, I believe that God wants us to feel like we were called to do something, that we were made with purpose, that we were divinely created. Because when we recognize that, we recognize the beauty in life, in the plan that, God has for all of us. And you should never feel bad for recognizing the good within yourself and within your life, because it's true. Everyone has it. In fact, I would argue that not recognizing it is a disservice because, like I said, we only live once. And you don't want to look back at your life and recognize all of the potential that you had within you all along that you didn't utilize and it be too late. You are divinely created. You have purpose. All you have to do, one step at a time, is tap into it. That was a lot, but I'm so, so, so happy. If you made it to the end, I'm so happy that you're still here. And thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that all of you take those lessons and apply them to the areas of your life that you feel you need them. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I can't wait to make more videos for you all. And please let me know what you want to see next. I'll see you all soon. Bye.